When you think of ancient Egypt, what comes to mind? I bet it's pyramids, pharaohs, and yeah, a whole lot of animal-headed gods. You've got Horus with his falcon head, Anubis, the jackal, Sobek the crocodile. It looks, well, incredibly complex, maybe even a little chaotic. But what if I told you there's a hidden order, a beautiful, elegant logic behind it all?
So let's just start with this question, because honestly, it changes everything. We're going to explore how a simple, single misunderstanding of one key word has kind of led us all to a completely warped view of one of the world's most fascinating spiritual systems. For most of us, this slide probably seems about right. The popular idea is that Egyptian mythology is this jungle of gods, just a confusing mess of deities, contradictory stories, and rival priests from different cities, all fighting to make their god the top dog. It feels like chaos. But that's really just a modern idea that we've projected onto the past.
Okay, so the key that takes us from chaos to cosmos, from confusion to crystal clarity, is a single ancient Egyptian word. It's the word we've been translating all this time as God, and that word is Neter.
So, what in the world is a neter? Well, it's not a god like Zeus sitting on a throne. A neter, or neteru for plural, is more like a fundamental force of nature, a principle, a divine aspect of reality itself. Think of it less as a who and more as a what. It's a function, an energy, a presence. And this quote just nails it. The Egyptians weren't worshiping hundreds of totally separate gods. No way. They were describing the countless facets of one single unified divinity. You know, just like we might talk about the creative force or the force of destruction, they gave these forces names and symbols. So Anubis wasn't some guy in charge of mummification. He was the sacred principle of preservation itself.
And get this, even the hieroglyph for Neter tells this incredible story. Now, there's some debate, but a lot of evidence suggests it represents a ceremonial axe. I mean, think about it. The axe is a universal symbol of power, the power to cut, to shape, to build, the power to carve order out of chaos. This one little symbol is telling us that a Neter is a power that shapes reality.
So to really see how this works, let's look at the most famous creation story from the ancient city of Heliopolis. This isn't just a cool myth, it's the perfect case study of the Neteru in action. It shows us how reality unfolds from a single source into the complex, ordered world we know. All right, so picture this. In the beginning, there's nothing but Nun, a vast, limitless, watery chaos. But it's not empty, it's just pure, unformed potential. And inside this cosmic ocean, a single consciousness just awakens. He is Atum. He contains everything that will ever be, but none of it has taken form yet. He is the One.
So, Atum is totally alone, and out of himself, he performs the very first act of creation. He brings forth the first pair, the first fundamental duality that gets the whole universe started. First, there's Shu, the principle of air, of dryness, the breath that creates space between things. And to balance him, he creates Tefnut, the principle of moisture, the atmosphere that fills that space. You've got separation and connection, right from the get-go, the first great polarity.
Now from that first polarity of air and moisture, a second, more physical one is born, Geb, the principle of the earth, and Nut, the principle of the sky. And the story goes that these two were locked in this passionate, inseparable embrace, leaving no room for anything else to exist at all.
And right here, this is one of the most powerful, most iconic images in all of Egyptian mythology. Their father Shu, remember he's the principle of air and space, he literally steps between them. He pushes Nut up, up, up to become the sky above, and he holds Geb down to become the stable earth below. This act, they said, was painful but absolutely essential. It's what created the world we live in, that space between the earth and sky where life could finally begin.
So with the stage set, the final generation of these great principles is born. These are the four children of earth and sky, and they represent the fundamental forces that govern human life and society. You've got Osiris, the force of order and rebirth, Isis, the force of wisdom and magic, Seth, who is that disruptive, chaotic force that forces change and transformation, and Nephthys, the protective, mysterious force of the unseen world.
So we've got this incredible story. But here's the kicker. The Egyptians weren't just telling bedtime stories. They were doing a kind of divine mathematics. They were literally mapping out the sacred geometry of the universe, revealing a divine blueprint for how reality actually works. And this is the crucial point, right here.
This myth is what you could call theological arithmetic. It's not random at all. It's a logical, step-by-step formula that explains how the universe unfolds. It goes from absolute unity to duality, then to a structured cosmos, and finally to the complex principles that govern life on Earth.
I mean, just look at this progression. It's a perfect, elegant cascade of creation. You start with the one, atom. That one splits into two, Shu and Tefnut, creating polarity. Those two give birth to another pair, forming the four pillars of the cosmos, Geb and Nut. And that cosmic structure allows for the final four principles that define our world. One becomes two, which gives rise to four, and the world is built. It's beautiful.
And what holds this entire magnificent structure together? A single, all-important concept, Ma'at. Ma'at is truth, balance, justice, order, harmony. It's all of that rolled into one. You could think of it as the operating system of the entire universe. The whole point of creation was to establish Ma'at, and the purpose of every human being was to live in a way that kept it going.
So once you understand these core ideas, Neter, the Ennead, and Ma'at, your entire view of ancient Egypt just transforms. That confusing jungle of gods completely dissolves, and in its place, you see this breathtakingly elegant universe of pure order.
And all those different creation myths from other cities, they weren't competing religions trying to one-up each other. They were just different dialects of the exact same symbolic language. Whether the creator was Atum or Ptah who created with his thoughts and words, the underlying principle was exactly the same, a structured, ordered unfolding of reality from a single divine source.
So the key takeaway from all of this is really simple, but it's profound. For the ancient Egyptians, the universe was not some random accident that popped out of chaos. It was the result of a deliberate, logical, and beautiful blueprint, a divine architecture that we can still stand back and admire thousands of years later.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The Egyptians used myth, this incredible theological arithmetic, to map out the order of their cosmos and to find their place in it. Today we use physics, mathematics, philosophy, art to do the very same thing. So the question is, what are the blueprints we're living by now? And what kind of order are they helping us build?